What's up, guys? What's up? What's going on? If you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome to YouTube. This is on Instagram. Welcome to Instagram. Welcome to my channel on Instagram. If this is on BitChute, this may be one of my first videos on BitChute. Welcome to my channel. I want to do a heavier video this morning, today. It's something that many people may not want to talk about. But just because many people don't want to talk about it doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be talked about, and doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk about it. So if you haven't sensed it, many people are fucked. And I say this knowing that everyone in some capacity has the free will to dig themselves out of their own hole, to turn the other way when the masses are walking off the cliff. But I'm going to say it again. Most humans are fucked right now. And why is that? There's a lot of reasons, but I'm going to focus on one of them today. Many people are fucked by what's going on today because they're unwilling to look at the relationship they had with authority growing up. And a lot of the times that's around their parents. A lot of the times that's around their kindergarten, first, second, third grade teachers. A lot of the times that's how society programmed to view doctors or authority, policemen, whatever kind of authority it is. But let's talk about parents and society in general, but I'm going to focus on parents and how many of us had our wires crossed, meaning the wire of love and the wire of fear. They were crisscrossed. They were inverted, if you will. And let me say this to you before I begin. This is not to blame our parents. This is not to blame society. This is about the opposite. This is about taking responsibility for your own life. And yet, there's a difference between blaming someone and acknowledging it. It's important to acknowledge it. It's important to not bypass what happened, okay? Many of our parents, most parents in today's society as well, and most people had a severely distorted lens as we as children grew up in the world today. So many parents who thought they had our best interests actually didn't, even if they thought they did, even if they said, "I love you," right? I'm giving this drug to you because I love you. I think it's going to make you feel better. A lot of them energetically didn't actually have our best interests at heart. A lot of them had a severely distorted lens. So for many of us growing up, the wires of fear and love were crisscrossed. So fear meant love and love meant fear. Many of us growing up were afraid of authority. AKA, we were afraid of our own parents, of those who were supposed to give us unconditional love. And when you really sit with that and see how fucked up it is that you feared the people that you were supposed to be loved around, you can start to see how this mess in the world right now in 2021 has been created. We've totally given away our discernment to authority as a collective. And again, many of you are stepping out of this like I have been doing, but the majority of humans still on this planet today have given their discernment away to authority. They must be doing this because they're my mom, because they're my dad, because they're my governor, because they're my doctor. They must have my best interest. It's time that we take our power back. So a lot of people don't want to look at the discernment piece. A lot of people don't want to feel the emotions of, oh my gosh, my parents may not have been these perfect people I thought they were. If you're still thinking that, and again, it's not to judge them. Do you see the difference? It's not to judge them, but it is to acknowledge it. They're not perfect. No one is. And if you're still, there's this very easy to detect trauma of, oh, my parents are perfect. I love it. When someone's in that energy, you can tell that they haven't done the work yet. And when I say do the work, all I simply mean is feeling the emotions of anger and then of sadness, of their parent actually not being perfect, of their parent actually doing a lot of things that weren't in the child's best interest. But because many people aren't willing to look at this, right? I was listening to the news came on, and there's this mask mandate where I live now, and you hear a lot of guys, a lot of reporters, a lot of journalists, a lot of doctors are under this mind control of not being discerning with authority because they're so afraid of authority. You hear these people on the news, oh yeah, there's a new mask mandate. Our businesses got to follow it, or they're gonna get a fine. All this fear. People are terrified of authority because they were terrified of their parents. They were terrified of getting in trouble. They were terrified of getting their allowance taken away. They were terrified of saying they couldn't have their favorite dessert if they didn't do this. We need to look at this trauma of being afraid of our parents, of being afraid of authority, of being afraid perhaps of teachers, of policemen. We need to look at it so we can feel the fear, feel the anger, feel the resentment, feel the sadness. And once we do that, we have more space to not be afraid anymore of the impositions being placed on many of us. Because when you're no longer afraid, you no longer conform. Many of us have conformed over and over and over and over again to things that we know deep down weren't in our best interest, but because these authority figures were telling us we had to, we did it anyways out of fear. And again, this is what's happening with most people. That's why I say most people are fucked, because they're not willing to look at this. They're not willing to acknowledge that their love and their fear wires have been crisscrossed, inverted. They're not willing to face the fear of their mother or their father. They're not willing to face the sadness and the anger and the trauma of that. They're not willing to look at that most of their life they've been living in conditional relationships and conditionality. Right? If you do the dishes, then you'll get the reward. Then I'll love you. If you don't do the dishes and clean up after yourself in your room, then you're going to be punished. You're bad. That's exactly what the government and people who are controlling right now are doing to humanity, because they know that's how people are programmed. If you don't think that the people who are orchestrating what's going on now in the world, if you don't think they know about this stuff, guys, about trauma, about how people are controlled through shame and fear, and how parents have been giving conditional love to their kids for many, 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 many years, most 99% of parents, you'd be lying to yourself. Of course they do. Of course they do. You don't think, again, using the news to shame people into doing certain things, right? This idea of good and bad. If you don't wear this on your face, you're bad. If you don't take this into your body, you're bad. Of course they know. This shame and fear is how they control. It's very easy. When a collective is unaware and unwilling to feel, it's like, here, have some Netflix. Here, have some Amazon purchases. Here, have some drugs. Have some alcohol. Have some food. You know, we're so numbed out. People are you don't have to throw anyone in the oven, so to speak, in a camp. People are walking towards the cliff, guys. That's why I say people are fucked. They're walking towards the cliff themselves. No one has to coerce them into anything. Yeah, nobody's perfect. It takes a lot of processing to to see your parents and authority figures in an imperfect lens, but it's very necessary. You're not responsible for holding their messes together. And a lot of us have taken on that burden. A lot of us have thought that we could make someone, our parents, happy if we did everything right, aka what they wanted us to do, which may have not, usually not, was what was right for us. And if you're still operating under that belief of I can make someone feel better, I'm responsible for someone's happiness, take that out of your take that out of your toolkit, guys, because that's just that's a hammer in disguise. That's the tool in disguise. It's like a floppy rubber hammer. That's an illusion, right? You may be able to make someone temporarily happy for a very short period of time, but if you think that you have to act a certain way around someone for the rest of your life to make them happy, you're kidding yourself. Because deep down, that person is not happy. And you're not only participating in a temporary illusion, but you're also killing yourself and really not being kind and in alignment with the part of your soul that is not a people pleaser. So I hope this message helps. Give it a like, subscribe, comment. Donations are greatly appreciated in the pinned comment if this is on YouTube, in my link tree if it's elsewhere. And again, a lot of you watching this aren't fucked because you're waking up to this game. You're waking up to facing the fear of your parents, and it's not even, it's really the energy behind the parent structure. It's not even necessarily them or the government, right? It's really about facing the energy within them. Because even that control energy that many of our parents, many of our young school teachers used against us as little innocent children, it wasn't actually them. It was entities, if you will, that swooped into unconsciousness to control. And if you're having trouble without blaming them, that's kind of your way into that, into looking at that. Because it's really not them, it's the energetics behind it. But again, a lot of people are heading for the cliff because of their inability to feel. And it's very simple, but it's very profound when you break it down. Because if you're unwilling to feel, you're unwilling to discern. And if you're unwilling to discern, you're basically giving your power away. And if you're unwilling to feel, you're not going to have the space to make new choices. You're not going to have the space to say, wait a minute, what they're telling me to do may not be for my highest good. What they're telling me to do, I may not want to do. Without giving yourself the gift of feeling, you're going to most likely continue going along with what they want you to do. It's really important to face this fear. Many people have it. Again, this wouldn't be happening right now, guys, if many people didn't have it. People may deny that they have this fear, but the physicality that's playing out now doesn't lie. Most people have this fear. Most people, as fucked up as it sounds, are afraid of their parents, are afraid of their boss at work. We gotta take our power back. And when I say power, it's simply we gotta take our own choice back. Right? You have to go back in time and say, so what if I didn't want to do the dishes when I was little? A lot of people, guys, hate cleaning, hate vacuuming, hate doing dishes and shit like that because there's so much trauma around needing to do it. But maybe you're more like me, and maybe you're not meant to do certain things like that you thought you had to do growing up. You need to allow yourself to have the permission of, if there's things in life you don't want to do, you can hire someone else to do them, or you can do them, from a more calm, peaceful, new frame lens. But this idea of doing things just because so-and-so tells you you need to do them, you need to really face that fear and feel that and realize that you never actually had to. All right, what if you never have to do the dishes again? Like I buy a lot of plastic silverware and paper plates because I don't like doing the dishes. I really don't. And there's things that, again, parents or authority figures perhaps made you do that aren't in your resonance, and that's okay. We need to start admitting that it's okay. Like many people aren't meant to sit in a cubicle from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But the school system basically said, if you aren't cool with that, if you don't sit in a desk and be a little bitch and accept the official story of everything in your textbooks for 8 hours a day, then something's wrong with you. Then you're not going to be successful. If you don't people please and work really hard to get your teachers with loads of trauma to like you and to give you A pluses and to let you go to the bathroom in the middle of class, then if you don't do all those things, then something's wrong with you. That's how this thing is unfolding, guys. It's the fear. It's the fear of authority. But see, the gift in feeling that fear, once you allow yourself to start feeling that fear, what's behind the fear is the God piece in you coming online, is the discernment in you coming online, that what they told you to do is usually fucking lunacy. And when you really start to become a sovereign being, you realize you don't need anyone to tell you what to do. You don't need anyone. When we're living in a fully sovereign state, guys, we don't need policemen. You don't need anyone to police you, to manage you, to tell you to push in your chair, to not cross your legs. Any of this, we've been so programmed. We've been so programmed. And those that have the inability or, that aren't going to look at these programs are fucked from one level. From a higher level, a lot of souls, believe it or not, they're seeing what's going on, and I promise you, a lot of older people are gonna die quicker than usual. Because right now, on this earth plane, there is massive opportunity for upgrading your consciousness and awareness as a soul. And if you're resistant to life, it's going to get faster and faster and faster that your soul is going to want to poof and come back into a different body and say, let's do this shit again. So from one level, no one's fucked. This is kind of just a game. It is just a game. And yet at the same time, we have massive opportunity right now. And there are consequences in this lifetime to look at the trauma behind authority. Because once you do, you remember that those very scary parental figures, the very scary governmental figures, the very scary teachers you had in first grade with the fucking ruler, that they're like the Wizard of Oz. There's all these big smoke screens. Oh my gosh, they're so big and powerful. And then you open the door, Toto pulls back the curtain, and they're a small little man or woman with a ton of trauma that wanted to control you because it made them feel safe in the world, and they feel very unsafe deep down and unloved. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this. I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Peace.